in interesting times. This week's stories. In Washington, D.C. Consul General asks Filipino overseas voters to accomplish and mail ballots. In Canada, moviegoers praise Guerrero at its Vancouver showing. In Pongo Pongo, Paepae Ulopu'o wins Fautausi 2019 American Samoa's longboat race. Plus, in Texas, Flippin' Patties brings Filipino-American fusion cuisine to Houston. Hello everyone, I'm Alan Basoyahe bringing you stories from around the globe. And this is Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. Philippine Consul General Renato Pedro Villa in Washington, D.C. encouraged overseas Filipino voters to carefully accomplish their ballots and mail them before May 13 this year for the midterm elections. Eliza Gonzalez-Manglikmot with the details.
The month-long overseas voting for the Philippine midterm elections has started April 13 and will continue until May 13, giving a chance for Filipinos living outside the Philippines to cast their picks for 12 seats in the Senate, all seats in the House of Representatives, plus regional, provincial, city, and municipal level elected positions. Joining Eagle News today is Consul General Renato Pedro Villa of the Philippine Embassy here in Washington, D.C. to share with us more information about the elections. Thank you for joining us, Consul General.
Thank you for the opportunity to for covering the elections here in the U.S.
Consul General, could you explain to us how did overseas voting come to place?
There was a clamor from the overseas Filipino workers and their families for them to participate in the voting process, to have a say in our political and economic future. Since they have contributed a lot, they are also contributing to our prosperity, to our progress. So in 2003, the Overseas Voting Act was enacted, and the first voting exercise for overseas Filipinos was in 2004. Yeah, so there has been 5 voting exercises. The last was in 2016, where the overseas Filipinos participated. Filipinos aged at least 18 years old, and there is no discrimination whether an overseas Filipino is documented or undocumented. Yes, they can participate. The mode of voting in the U.S. is postal voting, since they have a very efficient postal system. But in some other jurisdiction, like in the whole of the Middle East, the mode of voting is personal voting. But of course, overseas Filipinos are given 1 month in which to vote, those who have registered. Postal voting, we received the certified list of voters from the COMELEC, and then the COMELEC sent the ballots to us together with the mailing packets, and then we, within that 1 month period, we mailed them to all the qualified voters. Here in DC, there are more than 37,000, and in the whole of the US, 224,000 qualified voters. And we expect to mail them out within a 2-week period, and then hopefully the turnout will be as good as in 2016. We reached turnout 30% here in the U.S. We managed to register more than 16,000 new registrants. That's why the total now is 37,000. But there were around 7,000 who were deactivated. A voter can be activated if he or she fails to vote in 2 consecutive voting exercises. Then they are no longer eligible to vote. They are deactivated. But in the next registration exercise, they can register again to be eligible again to vote. Personal voting, there are also challenges. I was cross-posted here from Kuwait, and I was also the chair of the board of canvassers there. And I would say that in personal voting, there are also challenges, because in Kuwait, more than 60% of our workers there are domestic workers, and many of the employers do not allow them to have an off day or even for voting. So we had around just 20% turnout in 2016, and of course for postal voting we just rely on the, say, patriotism or willingness of the voter to mail back the ballot.
Conjen, aside from when and how to vote overseas, are there any special instructions or reminders that voters need to know regarding this year's midterms?
Yes, just when you receive the ballot, make sure that you accomplish the ballot carefully. For senators, you only have to choose 12. If you choose more than 12, then it will become invalid. And for party list voting, you can only choose one for the party list. If you choose two or more than one, and then the vote for the party list will be invalid. So, and then make sure that when you return the ballot, you seal it back and sign the ballot. We have the Board of Reception and Custody group received the ballots, the mailing packets, and every Mondays and Thursday, the Board of Election Inspectors will feed the vote counting machines, and then they will seal again the vote after the feeding of the ballots in that particular day, and this is open to the public. And then on May 13, the SBEI, Board of Election Inspectors, will turn over the certificate of votes, the summary of the statements of votes, and all the SD cards by precinct. By the way, there is one SD card per precinct. So they will turn it over on May 13 after they have finished the counting. And then the canvassing will start, and on May 13 until all the votes in the U.S. in our jurisdiction are counted, and the public are also invited to witness the canvassing on May 13 and onwards. Because you must participate in this democratic exercise. You must have a say in the future of yourself and your family, and your vote counts. Especially if there is if the 12th and 13th place in the senatorial election will be very close. Now, of course, also the party list. You also determine which party list the party list parties will represent you in Congress. So I will wish to reiterate, once you receive your ballot from the mail, send it as soon as possible, accomplish the ballot carefully, and then seal it, and then send it back to us. I believe the stamp is not too much. It's just $1.30 here in the U.S.
Conjen, the last day is May 13. Does it mean the stamp on the mail has to be May 13, or you have to receive it by May?
We have to receive it on May 13.
If you're eligible, exercise your right because your vote counts. Reporting from the Consular Office of the Philippine Embassy here in Washington, D.C., I am Eliza Gonzalez Manglekmod for Eagle News, 1 with 25.
Thanks, Eliza. When we come back, in Canada, moviegoers praise Guerrero at its Vancouver showing. In Pongo Pongo, Pae Pae Ulopu'o wins Fautausi 2019 American Samoa's longboat race. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. EBC film Guerrero impressed yet another audience, this time in Vancouver, Canada. Eagle News correspondent Kenny Aquino spoke to some moviegoers to find out what they think. Take a look.
Here at the Justice Institute of British Columbia, Guerrero, the first full-length film produced exclusively by EBC Films, was received with excitement. Excitement was in the air at the JIBC for the showing of EBC film Guerrero. EBC's award-winning full-length film impressed quite a number of moviegoers here in Vancouver.
I don't understand Tagalog very well, but the subtitles helped a great deal. And it was a very light-hearted look at a kind of a tragic story. It was very interesting. It was a lot of twists and turns. You wouldn't expect it to end the way it did. And it was good.
I enjoyed it because they have lots of detail and lots of emotion.
The audience pointed out how different Guerrero is from mainstream movies.
I think it's a big jump from the usual Filipino movies. It looked very modern, and it was fun to watch.
I think it was really great performance by all the actors, and just the overall theme of hope. And even though the good things and the bad things happen, like I love how he found, just God, and it was the hope. He refound his hope to live through the hard times of his life. Yeah.
INC Minister Brother Felmar Sereno said the film is unique in so many ways and recommended Guerrero to everyone.
What I really appreciate about the movie is its wholesome message, about bond of family, particularly the bond of the brothers, right? Because it was centered around the brothers. And in conclusion, how we rise above challenges, relying on the one. God is there, and we can call to Him for help and rely on Him and trust on Him to get us back up and to keep on going. So a wonderful film, highly recommended to everybody and anybody.
From Vancouver, Canada, my name is Kenny Aquino, always one with 25.
Thanks, Kenny. From the movie theater, let's head over to American Samoa for the Fautausi Race 2019 with Eagle News correspondent Ariane Torres Suwan.
Fautausi refers to a Samoan boat, similar to a longboat. They measure around 100 feet or 30 meters in length and can accommodate a rowing crew of up to 50. The literal meaning of Fautausi is to build as one, which reflects the need for teamwork in rowing the boats. In the past, the Fautausi, which were carved out of tree trunks, were the main mode of transportation between islands in the Samoan region. Today, Fautausi are mainly used in racing events, such as the one here in American Samoa. This year's race starts out in the water near the international airport and finishes at Pango Pango Harbor before a large cheering crowd.
Because Fautausi, that's our first game. The Fautausi and the cricket. Every village they all compete. It's like a we love this game, Fautausi. I wish we ladies can compete with the men, but not just only men. But this is our event.
There are 8 teams this year. During an interview with Samoa News, this Pae Pae Ulupo is guaranteed to be 100% on race day. Its team members are uniquely diverse, with the youngest just 14 years old and the oldest being 50 years old. Pae Pae Ulupo's weeks of training and hard work during the race finally paid off, as they crossed a large rope above the water, finishing in the first place. Meanwhile, residents and visitors alike took advantage of the weather and festive atmosphere by relaxing along the water to watch the race.
So we're glad this is our first time we came over here and we watched the podcast.
Okay.
But we live in Honolulu, we never been, came on TV, but we don't, came on TV, but we were like see in person. Come on over, watch our Polynesian style. I think Hawaii have a canoe racing, but not like someone, the way we make our own custom. So come on over, you watch. Probably they like the, Polynesian style, you know what I mean?
From Pango Pango in American Samoa, I am Arian Torres Suwan, 1 with 25.
Thanks, Arian. When we come back, in Texas, Flippin' Patties brings Filipino-American fusion cuisine to Houston. Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition will return shortly. This is Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. I'm Alan Basiaje. Their menu couldn't have said it better. All-time Filipino street food with a dash of the American twist. MJ Maranan introduces us to Flippin' Patties in Houston with this mouth-watering report. Take a bite.
In a 2018 survey by WalletHub.com, Houston, Texas is ranked the second most diverse city in the United States. There are many cultural foods to choose from, and today we will be checking out the Filipino restaurant Flippin' Patties.
We specialize in a fusion between Filipino food and American food. So we kind of put the Filipino flavors and the Filipino style of meats into American cuisine. We also have traditional Filipino style rice plates, but I guess how we fusion it with American style is we put the Filipino meats and flavors in our burgers. There's not a whole lot of Filipino restaurants in the Houston area, and so we kind of give like a gateway into it with doing a fusion of American and Filipino. And what we eventually want to do is expand and try to do some more traditional Filipino stuff like a Kumayan night. I think it kind of brings a lot of Filipino families and kind of brings new people into Filipino cuisine and kind of get them to taste the flavors that Filipino people and culture can bring to Texas or to Houston in general.
So just like the uniqueness of this restaurant, they also have unique drinks here. So as you notice, they make it here in shop at Houston with 100% fair trade certified cane sugar.
I think it really helps bridge the gap between other cultures in general. You know, it gets people to taste different flavors or get to know about a different culture and understand it more rather than basing, I guess, their mindset on a stereotype. In my opinion, the most popular item would probably be the Flippin' Patty burger. The buns that we use is a steam bun. So Filipinos, they do siopao. So we do a siopao style bun. It's a little bit sweeter. And so we basically do a stuffed portobello mushroom on top. And people love bacon and cheese. We do that. And then we make all of our sauces in-house. So it's kind of got like a spicy, tangy flavor with it. So it's really, really good.
Let's take a bite. Right here is the Flippin' Fries they're very famous for, as well as the Flippin' Burger that they're also famous for. Now this burger is pretty juicy, I'm not gonna lie. Really juicy to the point where it got all over the plate. But for the price, this is actually not bad. This is really, it's like, you can really taste the fusion between American and Filipino. Like, right now, I'm kind of tasting like the meats of what you find in Filipino cuisine. And like the fries, let's taste. They're a little more hot, but for sure I'll eat again. Definitely. Flippin' Patties is just one of the many Filipino restaurants you can visit in such a diverse city. Reporting from Houston, Texas, I'm MJ Moranan, your EBC correspondent, and I'm one with 25. Now you'll see me eating this takeout.
Thanks for the invite, MJ. That is today's Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. Join us again next week for stories from our bureaus across the nation and around the globe. Visit our websites at Eaglenews.PH and EagleNewsLive.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Twitter.com/EagleNewsPH. Thank you for watching. I'm Alan Balsiaje. I am one with 25.